What's up, YouTube? My name is Rico. I'm the CEO of SourceFind Asia, and this is my YouTube channel where we talk about
Another
business
one.
in China, manufacturing in China. So if you like this kind of content, check it out.
I notice when I walk outside, I hope this pays off. One day I chose it, one day, someday I hope it. Went in the big labels and saw plaques on walls, but I didn't post it. Didn't want to gas or boast it, that's not one of the things I'm made of. But one day will it pay off? Mum says I got to do music, and dad says to not quit my day job. It's a hard one still, it's not fake, the bars are real. Sometimes I can rely on people's advice, I can't rely on pills. I notice now, things keep falling down. When they fall, I still build them up. Hard when you don't know how. Something's changed, yeah, you know the deal. At the end of the day, I'm over that one still. Over that one. When I play shows, I'm sober at none. Not from London, no the accent. Not just talking, loads of action. Is this music or is it acting? One step forward, then go backwards. Think it makes me over anxious. Things can change, it's known to happen. I feel like I don't need people's help. And then when I think about it, I'm proud.
Yeah, man. So I guess where do you want to get started? Because I don't think I'm gonna be able to be on for more than 30 minutes just dealing with of course the event fuel stuff. So
did everything okay with OFX?
Yes and no. So to make a long story short, the payment that we wanted to make was to a personal bank account, and I guess just because also we're a new account and all that stuff, there's a lot of like compliance stuff that they had to make sure about, and the rules of transferring stuff into China and all that. So we just decided to go through the traditional method. So I just think, but even with that, there were some issues. That's why I was saying like still dealing with that. But that should be fine. It's just gonna take maybe a day extra, and then I think we just have to look at how much we lose and then see if we can make that up in somewhere else, where I think with the future shipments and stuff like that, the shipment to Ireland and the shipments into Asia.
How much are we losing on it?
I won't know until they receive the money, because the way it works is I send them USD, right, and then they take their fee, which is not high. Their fee is like, well, I guess in this situation it is high because of just the amount that it is, but their fee will be 3,400 RMB. And then there'll be an additional, like whatever changes in terms of the market rates between today and when they actually receive the money, right? So that's what I was worried about. At least with OFX, I knew exactly what the rate was going to be, and then they have like their flat fee. Or it's actually, for a transfer this large, it would have been free actually.
Yeah.
When I checked. So yeah, it sucks, but we can't really. I just think, okay, with OFX, I think we can use them in the future. It's just we would need to do a transfer. Like it needs to be a situation where we have a week or 3-4 days to transfer, because they want because of the compliance aspect, they want invoices, sales agreements, and documentation around the transfer, which we had, but it's like we sent it to them and then they took a day to review, you know what I mean? So it's like really just kind of, and I was talking to Imogen about it earlier. It's just like for future, like if we're doing an OFX transfer, it has to be a business account. And in general, that is our general practice, is transferring to business accounts, especially with an amount this large.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like if we're doing an OFX transfer, we have to provide the invoice and documentation prior to even sending the transfer. It's just, but you know what? Like even the other company that we use called Gold Remit, they, because of the law changes in January, February, with China, they started asking for additional documentation that they never used to ask for before. Before I could transfer money directly into an Alipay account or even a WeChat account. Can't do that anymore. Doesn't matter if it's Chinese or international account, whatever. Just like, yeah, they're cracking down on some of the payments into China
stuff.
Yeah. So
anyway, Okay, then. So for I suppose for this chat, how do you want to do it?
I think we could
Want
just
to,
I think we could just start talking about how the project came about, and then just sort of the issues that they had, and the first call that we had with them, and then how it's gone so far.
yeah.
I think if we just those 3 points, just like how it started, um, what issues they had when we spoke to them, and the solutions, and then yeah, just the process so far.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you brought the project to me, so do you wanna take it away?
Sorry, you're breaking up there.
Oh, I said you brought the project to me, so do you wanna start off?
Yeah. So I suppose the initial thing was being reached out by Brian, who is the owner at Event Fuel in Ireland. We were friends through my old rugby club, and he had reached out. They were looking initially, I think the idea was that they were hoping to be able to source some product and have us deal with the Asian side of the project. But once we kind of sat down and had a conversation and offered our full services and what we could do for them. So the company that they've been contracted to is PayPal. It is a three-part, one in the US, goods to go in the US, one for goods into Europe, and then one for China and APAC. It is essentially a gift box that turns into a board game. So quite a lot of detail in terms of the artwork. Once you open the box up, on the inside of the box is the board game. They have a few bits and pieces to go with that, a deck of cards, dice, a few other printing assets. And then each box would come with one gift, either a sunrise alarm clock, a blanket, or a massage neck pillow. So initially, as I said, they were kind of looking just for us to get involved with the APAC, but we came back and said that we could source all the products, we could get all the packaging printed, we could get all the goods assembled and packed in China, and we could arrange for the freight. So large bulk shipments into the US of the massage pillow and the clock. The goods made up in the box itself for the European shipment, which is all going to Ireland. And then the goods all made up again and packed, but for the APAC and for China, but sent out individually. So I think when we first had the conversation and we kind of said, yeah, we can handle everything between our factories and what we've done in the past with your connections with your freight forwarder as well. And then the initial kind of Zoom that we had with Fuel's team, they were definitely a bit taken back by the fact that we could do everything. They definitely weren't expecting it, and it was a big relief on their part. The major issue at the start was the timing. So they need everything delivered by December 9th to the end clients. Of course, China was going on holidays for Golden Week, which always tends to be the thing once you're in a real rush for stuff. So we knew we had to have all deposits paid by October 15th, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And we had kind of said if we can get them all paid by that date, we'll be able to get as close as possible to their delivery date of the 9th of December. And then we just kind of got the ball rolling on artwork from their side, us arranging quotes the minute China opened back up. And that was, the real start of the project.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just interesting to me when we first spoke to them. Like, one of the things that stood out to me the most was we mentioned doing quality control inspections and the process of that, and then just the fact that they were a little bit surprised that we even do inspections on the products.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I think we can help these guys a lot, because one thing is it's for them to save a bunch of money on the production, because they were sourcing all the products from Europe and the US before. Um, but it's another thing for them to actually get the same quality products, pretty much the same products, because I'm sure all of the products we were buying were coming from China anyways. But
Sure. Apart from the blankets, which we didn't source, they're actually made in Scotland.
okay, yeah, and then yeah, they shipped them over. But yeah, it was one thing for them to save money on the actual production, but then to also save money on, I mean, to have the same quality of product.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think later on they came to us with the print assets, which they were trying to do, and then it was just like too expensive to do it in the States and stuff.
Well, so the printing assets and the gift box, they've got some printed in the States for that side. So we were just sending the massage pillow and the clock, and they were handling all of that. I think that was more of a case they had that already arranged, and they had someone to do it. Kind of reading between the lines, our pricing was miles better than what they were getting. They had got stuff quoted in Ireland, I know, so our pricing was much better than that. But I think for the US side of things, it was more of a they needed the goods sent out as quickly as possible, the bulk production from here. So they decided to stick with their printer there. So we got rolling on the artwork. We ran into a bit of a issue with the initial box factory that I had brought, a factory that I've worked with for years, but they just seem to be very, very busy at the moment. I mean, it is peak season, and obviously there's people running into delays with what's going on in the freight world and backups in China. So we had to switch factory out. Imogen quickly got that all sorted, which was great. Boxes are due to finish tomorrow. So that was a bit of a hiccup and a bit of stress. And then I think everything else has been relatively straightforward. We have had a few delays, one or two days, I think, on each of the products, but it hasn't been affected that much because of the gift boxes. Had a few issues with the payment side of things, but again, nothing major. And we think obviously we now have a good solution moving forward with OFX.
Yeah. Well, the payments thing is always an interesting thing, because it's like, if you want to work with suppliers that are actually based in like mainland China and they don't have international licenses, like a Hong Kong company or Singapore registered factory or something like that, they need to receive payments in local currency. And of course, it's always been restricted in mainland, but it's becoming more and more of an issue right now with the sort of the political climate and all that stuff. And just a lot of rules that they changed in the last, I would say, 2-3 years around money transfers. So if you wanted to do a money transfer directly into an account in the past, there was a couple different ways that you could do it. You could go transfer USD to a USD account in China, and then transfer that into RMB, which you would lose a lot of money because of taxes and the conversion rates and stuff like that. And then there was like, if you wanted to do a smaller transfer to anything like below $10,000, I think they're still there. Actually, they used to do bigger transfers, because that's something that Mike used to do before. There's the money vendors in Hong Kong, where you just go there and give them cash, or actually I think it's only cash, and then they transfer to whatever account or Alipay or that. And I mean, the money vendor stuff became more restricted. It's cost prohibitive when you have a bigger transfer to do the USD to RMB transfer. And then there are other money transfer services like a GoRemit, like an OFX, where you're basically transferring money to their account and they're a licensed money vendor. And then they transfer into RMB, which is slightly more cost effective. But again, when you start to extrapolate, a certain amount of money, let's say anything over $20,000, then their fees and the exchange rates that they use start to become a little bit much. So,
Mm.
but even with GoRemit and even with OFX, like I think they've also started to feel some crackdown from China in terms of the rules, because GoRemit also used to be able to transfer to Alipay or WeChat
Yeah.
account, and they can't do that anymore. They're asking for more, randomly ask for more additional documents when you send a transfer out. OFX we haven't technically used yet, but I've been trying to work with them this week, and I mean they are like way more. I guess they're a bigger company, so they have more compliance issues, and also for a new client like us, um, it just seems like it's just more difficult than it used to be. But as long as I mean, we have alternative solutions, and what I'm basically saying is, if you are going to work with some of the factories that we're working with, you're going to save a ton of money on the per unit cost, but then you have to take into consideration the actual payments that you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's where working with a company that has contacts and has alternative methods, because we basically had like 3-4 different ways that we could do this.
Mm.
And it was more about which one made sense from a financial standpoint than not being able to do it, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And just having those options is absolutely key, because if we didn't, and you're running into, even at this project, like 1 or 2 days is going to make a big difference. Because realistically, we're probably going to get the US shipment out in the next 2 days, 1 or 2 days.
yeah,
Then hopefully all the goods packed by the 20th and then sent out to Ireland in bulk by the 21st, 22nd, and then around Asia as well, around the same time, which will obviously be a bit quicker lead time. But we need to give the Irish shipment time to get there, get through customs, and then obviously sent out around the country, which will only take a day or two once it gets there. So yeah, like at the moment, touch wood, we are on track. But yeah, we'll see how the next few days goes, especially because we have no control over the shipping lead times and customs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so that was the other side of it. Was like, we're ahead of schedule in terms of production, and if this was normal times, if this was 3 years ago, it wouldn't be an issue if we're shipping by air, which is what we're doing. But yeah, anything can happen with that. There could be any sort of random delays, and also we're shipping out electronics, so there's more inspections around that. There's more documentation needed for
we've given ourselves time on that.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's another point of kind of our experience with shipping this type of stuff outright and making sure the client knows. And I think that's something that we've been very, very on top of with all of this, is just constantly reminding about the shipping issues, shipping out electronics, what's going on. And like as much as we'll push to get this done on time,
and the price fluctuations as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm having so many people come back to me. I got a quote for 12,000 boxes going to Ireland, and I think I was quoted $21,000. And now they're like, oh, can we ship to France? Will it be cheaper? And these are the kind of questions you're getting. And I'm like, well, I need an address to get the quote. And it's not going to be considerably cheaper to get them shipped there. And it's just really a crazy time, especially in our industry. And it's having a massive knock-on effect.
Yeah, and it's been like that since, the shipping wise, it's been like that since last year, right? So a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with reminds me of last year, in terms of just the unpredictability around it. But I guess the lesson that we learned last year was more, if you can do a bulk shipment and send everything at the same time, then do that. That's the easiest way to do it. And then also make sure that you have enough time and you give yourself, you're not shipping out something that needs to be landed within like 3-4 days, right? Like you're shipping out something that needs to be there within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because like last year last year was uncontrollable with all the COVID products and all that stuff. It was just, we need this like tomorrow, but we have to do a production first, and it was like everything was already, crazy. But it was just that lesson, like, okay, we didn't expect those shipping delays to happen, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that caused a lot of issues. I guess what else has been part of the project? I think one of the, I mean, we were talking about this before, is like there must be so many companies like Event Fuel that have adjusted their business model and
Yeah.
require this kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, I had a call with the two owners last week, and I was on Friday, and because I kind of put that question to them, and they were saying they are a bit unique,
okay,
in terms of what they offer. But I feel like most companies would feel like that about their own business. But I mean, we had spoken about, right, how can we try and find these other companies, and it turns out that this kind of PayPal operation that they're doing, they're now contracted to them, and there's more plans for that, which we'll be a part of, and there's other brands or other companies that they're going to be targeting. So like I think it's a smart move to let the marketing experts go after that type of business, and we stick to what we're good at in terms of the sourcing and fulfillment and assembly and the freight side of things. But I still think there's kind of opportunity out there, right? Because it's nearly like a new age for a sourcing office that you're here to source product, but then you have to offer all these other alternative options, and then assembly, fulfillment, all these different things. And we spoke about it, that we're looking at a few different things now with Fuel, in terms of having a distribution here in Asia and us handling that, what they're doing for PayPal in terms of their internal product, having distribution all over the world rather than it all coming from America, which is not sustainable and not good for the environment, which is a big focus of theirs, and a big focus of all of these large kind of Silicon Valley companies, right? So I definitely think there's lots of opportunity there to kind of be the boots on the ground in Asia. I mean, the fact that buyers can't even get out this way for a lot of these companies, and I don't know how soon they'll be able to get out this way or into mainland China. So there's definitely options there. It's just trying to find the right people to talk to in these businesses.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's two parts. It's like good marketing where you're providing real value, right? Because for example, like three of our largest clients ever, they found us through like my podcast and a YouTube video. But then what happened was they watched one YouTube video and it's free information, and then they watched other stuff and they listened to the podcast, and I didn't reach out to them, they reached out to me, right? So, and at that stage, like it's almost a formality when you get on the actual sales call, because they've already decided that they want to work with you.
And I think that's a great way. I think, like, I love the fact that you're telling people how to source.
I've come too far to turn back, so win or win is my only choice. I release songs they think it's for them, it's a cry for help, but they miss the point. What's mad is when I speak for them, I feel like I lose my voice. Yeah. But I can't linger or dwell on things. Yesterday's gone, it's been better since. Still outside and I'm settled in. Still more scared than I ever been. Still feel blessed like I never sinned.